Alright, I'm finally done with this Storm brand build. I'm ready to make like a guide on it of some sorts. So here we go. Here's the guide. We'll start with the tree. You start on the tree over here, and you want to get there's three things you want to get on the tree. You want to get life regeneration, life, and anything brand related. Uh, and there's a couple nodes that you want to get that are not brand related or life regeneration. But you could they're kind of customizable. You don't have to get them if you don't want to. You can get other stuff. So we start over here and we get the life regeneration. We get a lot of life regeneration right off the bat. We get zero point 0.4 in these three nodes, and then we get 1%. And then you get life. And then this is where the brand related stuff comes in. You get elemental damage, more elemental damage, and you get spell damage and spell critical hit chance. Spell critical hit chance is very important because it's a crit build. And then you get more increased damage. And then you come over here and you get the brand related stuff. So these ones are good. These four are good. You can cast 2 additional brands is good for the brand mastery. Rune Binder is good. And I remember I mentioned you want to get life. So we're getting life. We're getting all this life over here. Purity of flesh. And then you come to the right and you get more regeneration and more life. Quick recovery. And you come over here and you get more brand related stuff. Explosive runes. This is where it kind of differs. Come all the way to the right over here, and you get a little bit of spell critical hit chance and spell critical hit multiplier. So this isn't brand related, but you want to get these three because they're very helpful for your crit chance and your crit multiplier. So you get nimbleness. And then you come all the way to the left over here, and you come back to where we got sanctity. And you want to get devotion and a little extra life. When I come down here, you want to get sanctuary for the +1 to all maximum elemental resistances. You want to get tireless, and then you want to get nomadic teachings, maximum lightning resistance, and maximum cold resistance. And you want to come over to the right here and get iron will and more life with constitution. You want to come down and to the left, you get barbarism, which gives us +1 to maximum fire resistance. That's why we don't get maximum fire resistance, because we already get it over here. And then you want to get life mastery +30 to maximum life. You want to stack as much life on this build as you can possibly get. And then we get hardy, and we get regenerate 50 life per second as the recovery mastery. Very helpful. Then you come down here and to the right. You get Juggernaut. You get life and armor. You get diamond skin. Diamond skin is actually, I'm going to get rid of that right now. It's one you don't need to get. So we get robust, elemental resistance, warrior's blood, heart of the warrior, and then you come over here and get life regeneration. Very simple. You come down here, you get more life regeneration. Come up here, you get bloodless and more life. And that's about it. That's the whole tree. That node I just got rid of, you don't need it. I don't know where I'm going to put it though. Actually, you could get this. Could get glancing blows. Now, why would you want to get glancing blows? Because we don't really stack blocking on the tree anyways, so glancing blows would actually help a lot. Now I'm thinking about it. Now, on other versions of the build, you get blood magic. You don't want to get blood magic unless you have more life. If you have upwards to like 10,000 life, then I say go for it. Get blood magic and put on what I believe is called petrified blood. I will look it up right now. Uh, where is it? Where is it? Petrified blood. So if you use blood magic, you want to use petrified blood, all right? But if you don't use blood magic, you do not want to use petrified blood. So let me explain what petrified blood does. Petrified blood is extremely overpowered. Extremely overpowered. I will showcase how it kind of works. So as you can see, we have 800 life. That's not good. We want to get rid of that. So you see how it's regenerating, but it's not regenerating fully. That's how petrified blood works. You your health will regenerate to the low life point, which is 50% health. It used to be 30%. Yeah, it is now 50%. And what you could get to kind of keep it at halfway is you could get something like clarity. So let's see if we can get clarity real quick. Or better yet, let's see if we have one that we can just put on. Petrified blood is extremely overpowered, but I don't I don't really recommend it unless you have a shitload of life. I'm gonna be honest. If you don't have a shitload of life, it's probably not gonna be worth using. If I had to be completely honest. Uh, so yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird how it works. I just don't recommend it unless you have more life. That's it. That's it. If you have more life, I say go for it. If you have 10k life, use petrified blood and use blood magic. If you do not have 10k life, I don't recommend it. That's my 2 cents. I'm not going to explain it any further. That's just my 2 cents. That's how I see it. I will keep it on my character and level it up because I might end up getting this character more life in the future. I might give it better gear because my gear is not like as good as it could be. But that's my 2 cents. I don't recommend it unless you have 10k life, 10k life or more. So that was a tree. I recommend getting glancing blows so that you can block some hits. And I also recommend getting a little bit of spell block, which I do not have on the tree. But as I level up to 100, I'm going to be using those 10 points on spell block. So the last 10 points of the build are going to be used on spell block for 100%. Not for 100% spell block. I'm just saying that I'm 100% going to use those points for spell block. All right, now for the gear. The uniques I chose to use are as follows. I chose to use the Taming, Yoke of Suffering, and Wrathpipe Globe is mandatory. Wrathpipe Globe is mandatory. Yoke of Suffering and the Taming are not mandatory. You do not need these to do damage. I felt like my damage wasn't as good as it could be, so I decided to get these two uniques and slap them onto the build. and it increased my damage a boatload. So that's what I recommend. For the rest of the gear, you want to get life, regeneration, and for the gloves, you want to get life regeneration rate. And you want to try and get as much chaos res as you can. As you can see, my chaos res is not capped out. You also want to get dex on a lot of your gear. For example, I got dex on my ring, I got dex on my boots, and I got strength on my belt. There is another belt you can use with this build, which I recommend you use with this build if you can cap your resistances. And it's this belt, Immortal Flesh. Immortal Flesh is very good for this build because of the life regeneration and because of the increased armor while not ignited, frozen, or shocked. So very good. You can afford to get a little evasion rating on this build, but I recommend for the most part just going for armor. Go for a little bit of both, I guess. Try and get your evasion rating and your armor up. Try and aim for 50% physical damage reduction and 50% evasion rating. I do not have that, but try and aim for that. And then we're using, I'll go over the supports later, but since we're using Spellblade, we're using Rebuke of the Vow. You could use Energy Blade, but I'm not using that because the body armor required for Energy Blade is, uh, it's expensive. It's very expensive. The body armor required is like 7 div right now, I believe. So, as you can see, 7 div is the body armor required. But it is very good. It allows you to use Energy Blade, and you don't have to use Rebuke of the Vow. And you'll get way more damage than you would get using Rebuke of the Vow. Rebuke of the Vow gives you a lot of damage with Spellblade support, but Energy Blade with a Foulboard Ghost Rife is going to give you way more damage. Way more. Like shitloads more. Shit tons more. So I recommend doing that. Again, like I said, it's just too expensive for me right now. So maybe I'll do it in the future. Just not right now because I don't have the currency for it. And we got a little bit of express spell damage, just a tiny bit, so uh, that helps a little bit with spell damage sometimes. And that's about it. That's the whole. After that, just cap your reses, which should be easy, given you're using the taming and yoke of suffering. If you decide to use those, and stack life regeneration, and that's about it. That's the build, pretty much. So I'm gonna do a map. Probably gonna do a tier 15. Alchemy it up real quick. Yeah, we'll do that one. Oh, another thing is I'll go over the supports. So we have Storebrand with Spellblade support, add lightning damage support, concentrated effect support, increased critical damage support, and increased critical strike support. The only thing I would recommend switching out for this build is I would recommend switching out maybe critical increase critical strike support and put it invert the rules. Invert the rules is very powerful. I just don't have it right now, but again, invert the rules. Invert the rules is not very expensive. I just don't have it. I haven't grinded it out yet, but that's it right there. If you want to go ahead and get that, it basically turns your skill into a Rakiata's, which is very powerful. If you can't afford to invert the rules, or you just don't have it like I do, or you just don't have it similar to how I don't have it, you can add lightning damage support, and it should be fine. Damage should be perfectly fine. So I'm going to do a boss that can one-shot most of my characters, just to prove that this build is tanky. It can do all content if you get the damage high enough. For the rest of the supports, I'm just using Vitality, Zealotry, Leap Slam with faster attack support. I got Immortal Call with casting and damage taken support and more duration support. And right now I'm leveling up Stormbrand and Indecision so I can use that later. Oh, and I'm leveling up Petrified Blood just in case I decide to use that later. So Petrified Blood, I didn't really explain it. What Petrified Blood does is it applies a buff that protects the lower half of your life, preventing some of the immediate life loss when damaged by hits, and applying the loss over time instead. Your life cannot be raised above low life other than by flask, and while above low life, skills will cost life as well as mana. With blood magic, the life as well as mana thing doesn't really matter because your skills already cost life anyways, and you have no mana. So that's why you would want to use it with blood magic. That's one of the reasons why you'd want to use it with blood magic. We should be able to kill this thing. I shouldn't have any problems. My game's lagging though. Let me check if I'm downloading anything. I think I am, actually. No, I'm not. I don't know why my game's lagging now. So most of these hits that we're taking from this enemy that we were taking, we would just one-shot us anyways with Petrified Blood, which is why I just don't recommend you use it unless you have 10k life. So that's like that right there would have one-shot us. We would have died.
You've got a decision to make.
What you got? Nothing remotely good. That would have killed us too. Most of these would have killed us with Petrified Blood. But if you have like 10k life, then all it's going to do is make you really fucking tanky. Plus the 10k life. So, of course, you can use it without a build that has like 10k life, but then you're looking at like a Defiance of Destiny. And that's, you know, obviously going to be very, 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 very expensive. Unless you're on PC. We're on console, so things are different. But as you can see, we're taking damage, we're surviving, we're regenerating for the most part. We're able to tank everything. Not a fan of the lag, but it's okay. We'll get through it. These guys we should be able to just face tank. So should be fine. As you can see, the damage is serviceable. It's not crazy good, but we're, you know, it's fine. We're doing damage. We're taking out rares. Gotta try not to die here. These guys with their thorns attacks and their retaliations. Brutal. This build is pretty tanky, but I still play passively because I just don't want to die. I'm trying to get to level 100 with this character. And I don't want to lose XP. For the potions, we just have 2 life flasks, 2 quicksilver flasks, and a mana flask. That's it. Pretty simple. You could get rid of the mana flask, but then you're gonna have to worry about waiting a little bit every now and then for your mana to go back up. So unless you're using petrified blood and blood magic, then like I said, this build is not as good as it could be. This build could be a lot better than it is currently. We just don't have the currency or the gear or the levels right now. So this boss normally one-shots my builds, or my characters, I should say, because these aren't really my builds. They're just builds I play. And then I'll show you the attack. This is the attack that one-shots them. I highly doubt this character can tank that attack, but as you see, we do a lot of damage, so it's all good. There we go. What is this? I don't know. There you go. There's a map showcase. And that's the build guide. Storm Brand. If you have a leveled up Storm Brand of Indecision, then use that instead of regular Storm Brand. But I don't know if it does more damage. I'm going to be honest, because this one says deals 80% more damage with hits against branded enemies, such as bosses and stuff, and like rares when you're fighting rares by themselves. So I honestly think this does more damage than Indecision. But on Google, on like the wikis and stuff, it says the opposite. It says that Indecision does more damage. So I really don't know. I really don't know. It doesn't really make any sense to me how Indecision would do more damage than regular Stormbrand. Because the 80% seems like a lot. 80% more damage is 80% more damage, you know? Like that's a shitload. Against single target. So I don't see how Stormbrand of Indecision can do more damage, but apparently it does. So yeah, if you have a level up Stormbrand of Indecision, apparently does more damage in both mapping and single target than regular Stormbrand. So I'm leveling it up because I want to test it. I want to test out Indecision and see if it actually does more damage. And we're gonna fucking find out. I'm gonna make a video on it too. So yeah, that's the end of the video though. That's the end of the build guide. I highly recommend this build. It's very comfy. It's very tanky. Now let me go over the build creator real quick because I am not the build creator. I'm not the person who made this build. So hold on a second. The build I went off of. Give me a second. I gotta find it. I got it on my phone. Valina. Valina is the build creator I went off of. They're the one who made the tree. They're the one who about Rothpipe Globe, and they're also the ones that found out about Energy Blade and all that. So go check out Valina. They have the build on Max Roll. That's about it. I will say this variant is a little different from hers because we're not using blood magic, but that's about it. That's like the only difference between hers mine. Oh, and the fact that we're not using energy blade, but that's just because we don't have the currency to make that work right now, or the items. So that's about it. GG.